So, as a brief introduction, I'm Joseph Grech, and I work at Malta Information Technology Agency as a solution architect. MITA is a government entity, which is the central driver of the government ICT policies, programs, and initiatives in Malta. Within MITA, there exists a software development department which takes care of designing and building applications used by the government ministries, and also in some cases it procures subcontractors to develop the solutions based on the specifications imposed by MITA. MITA also provides the infrastructure where it owns a data center, and it also hosts the government applications in these data centers. As a current state of play, we have a small ecosystem of APIs, and currently there is a small degree of interoperability between the system. We have a quite large number of web applications and web services, but which are difficult to integrate. Furthermore, we are also lacking some of the technical tools needed, and therefore we are facing operational issues such as scaling, versioning, caching, which is done manually and therefore time-consuming. So our vision. So our vision, basically, we have two main pillars, which is government to government and government to business. For government to government, our goal is to increase the collaboration between different domains, for example, taxation, social security, public registries, etc. And each domain, it's important that is responsible for its own data, so that we can achieve a single point of truth. With this in mind, from a technical perspective, we would have a higher degree of code reusability. On the other hand, for government to business, we envision more transparency to the local citizens by providing the data in an easy and real-time manner. And since the APIs can be made available to the private sector as well, this can stimulate the innovation within local businesses or startups, for example, by creating mobile applications, etc., which in the end the citizens will benefit. In both cases, the APIs need to be integrated easily. As regards operation, the availability of the API ecosystem is very important, and therefore we seek that ideally APIs can be scaled up or down based on the demand. It's important that APIs cater for all types of applications, being mobile applications or web applications. We require agility in the implementation and maintenance of APIs. Since some of the APIs are going to be used to provide service to the citizen, it is important that the user identity consuming the API to be validated and authorized at API level. So, MITA, with the collaboration of the government, took the decision that the cloud platform can be used. So MITA procured a hybrid cloud platform which allows APIs to be hosted both on-premise in our data center or on the cloud with the same set of tools. This platform should be available beginning of next year. Government core IT systems will be redesigned to be cloud native by using microservices architecture. Some of the development design patterns which we are using are domain-driven approach, and as regards the database connectivity, we are using code first. We are also introducing the DevOps concept, where a software developer can build, implement, and publish an API in an agile process. In order to increase the uptake of APIs within the MITA development team, we are building a sort of a community between developers where technical discussions and workshops are being held. We are also planning to have a repository where we can publish our codes in order to be shared between developers. On the other hand, for the private sector, MITA provides an innovation hub where it uses its expertise to help startups to build their idea to a real application. Obviously, this can be used for promoting APIs. So, some of the tools that we are going to use are an identity manager, which is provided by the hybrid platform, where the authentication is federated to the different identity providers. Most importantly are the national EID and the local government identification body. We are also intending of enhancing the user identification journey with the authorization of the user. Such tools will allow us to monitor and detect any threats. Another important component would be the API manager, which will be where all the APIs will be published by the developers to this gateway, and where app developers and applications can subscribe and are able to consume these APIs. Using policies within the API manager, we can validate the user identity, check if it is authorized before reaching the backend service. Such gateway also provides us with the caching for certain APIs, such as reference APIs, in order to decrease network traffic. Obviously, this type of change, the hybrid cloud platform, will bring changes to all internal procurement and operational procedures. As regards the development section, we are planning to have some pilot applications from where we can define in more detail the approach to take to have a good API guidelines to follow. Basically, that's all from my side.
Thanks a lot.